Hello, this is Ian from Device42, and thank you for joining me as we learn how to create a new report as well as modify a predefined report in the Advanced Reporting section. Let's navigate to Reports, Advanced Reporting. In the top right hand corner, we'll see links to the entity relationship diagram and the data dictionary. These are related to the views that sit on top of the tables that Device42 uses in its database. Uh, the Advanced Reporting tool makes use of that query language. It will create joins for you automatically based on the categories that you pick. And then the data dictionary will be especially helpful for us later when we're modifying a query to change the predefined report. But for now, let's create a new report. Clicking on the plus sign here with a couple different reporting options, we're going to use the advanced report option. First, we'll need to give it a name and place it in a user defined folder. I'm going to put it in my folder here. Next, we'll bring you to the categories that you can report on. These are containers holding the information relevant to the different objects within Device42. We can do a filter here to find what we're looking for, or just simply search through the menu here. So let's create a report based on device, IP address, and customer or department. And everything is double click or drag and drop, making it very easy to build things out. Sorting and filtering options are next. Let's sort alphabetically by device name. We can change that to descending order, and you'll be able to sort or filter by any of the categories that you've picked, so any of the three that we chose just a second ago. We can then move on to filters. Let's filter by the customers that own our devices here. Let's do the name of the customer. This drop down here will give you the different filtering options. I like contains because it's a little more flexible. You don't have to know the exact case or spelling of what it is that you are trying to filter by, but any of those other options will work as well. So let's filter by Device42 and move on to the layout of the report. This is where you pick the different values from each category that you want to report on. So let's get the device name, IP address, and then customer details. Clicking Finish will bring out the actual layout of the report itself. A couple different things here that will be useful. You can run the report as it is right from this area here, export it to a few different sections, change any of the information about the layout of the report, the name of the columns in your report. Let's change this one since there's a name column twice and it's not very distinct. Oops, let's try that once more. There we go. We can save any of the changes we might have made. This settings icon here, the gear icon, this is where you can rename the report, add a description. If you want to include or remove any categories, sorting, or filtering options, this is where you can come and do that as well. For now, let's run the report as it is. And there you go. We have a device report sorted alphabetically by device name, and it includes its IP address. It is filtered by the Device42 customer and includes the manager so that we know who to contact in the event of an outage or something. Now, what if you don't have time to build reports from scratch? This is where our predefined reports come in handy. A lot of different use cases here, subfolders covering a lot of different use cases. The nice thing about these two is they're good templates to help jumpstart your reporting process. So maybe you run this rack inventory report a few times, you find it's got good information, but there's some details you don't care or some values are missing. Maybe all your equipment is in one building or you're just responsible for one building. Since the address and name is never going to change, we don't need these columns. Maybe we want to include device aliases so that if your devices have a FQDN, a host name, a short name, and maybe something else, we can include that here as well. So how do we modify this predefined report? Well, we're going to click the hamburger icon, duplicate it into an existing user folder. We'll put it in my folder again. And let's give it a new name or modify the name just so we know which one is which. Once we navigate or we duplicate that, we can then navigate to that user folder where we can see the newly created folder that we just made as well as the modified one. We then want to click the hamburger icon followed by edit. Now I mentioned the object query language that Device42 uses to run the advanced reporting engine. We're going to modify that query so that we can remove details or include additional information. And one thing we're going to need in a couple minutes is our data dictionary here. So where do we find the query that we want to modify or change? We're going to come into the gear icon and click categories. Now you can also build your own reports from SQL, so that if you just want to build them from the ground up, this is how you would do that as well. But we're going to go into categories, click the SQL icon here, and then copy our query here. So this is the SQL query, or DOQL query rather, that is used to generate our rack inventory report. We're going to copy that and paste it into a text editor, which I've already done here. I'm using Notepad++, but any text editor will do. Now, how do we change our query here to remove and add new information? Well, we decided that building information is not something we care about, so I've commented out that information. Now, you can just simply delete these values so that they're not going to be included as part of your query anymore, but maybe in the future you're going to want the building information. You can just comment them out using the / and asterisk notation here. That way the information is still there, but it's not being queried against in the database. So we are commenting that out. We're commenting out the join that is used to connect the building view to the device view. The device view is the basis for our report, our query here. So we're commenting that out so that it's not being queried against. And then down at the bottom here, there's an order by clause. We're also commenting out the building name so that we're not ordering by that. Now, we also decided that we want to include the device alias. We're going to need to go back to the data dictionary in order to find the information we need for that. And so if we do a quick search for the device view, we've got the information we need. Alias name is the value that we want to actually report on. It's going to be the name of our column that's newly generated for our report. And we're going to join this device alias view to our device view using this device FK value here. So going back to Notepad++, we're going to add a view. Add a join. I've added it on line 19 here. Left join view device alias v1. We're going to call it DA for short. And we're creating that join on the device FK of the device alias view to the device PK of the device view. And we know that D is device based on line 15 here. So now that we've joined the device alias view, we can include the device alias name. And here's our parameter that we're including, as well as the column header that we've created. Now say we decided that the building information wasn't relevant because all of our equipment was located in one building. Maybe we want to filter by a particular room in that building. Line 23, I've added a where clause to filter by that particular room. So we've got a where, RO is short for our room view that we created the join on, and then we're filtering by the name of a particular room, which is this here. So as a quick review of what changes we made to the rack inventory query here, we commented out the building information on lines 1 and 2 because we're not interested in that anymore. Line 8, we included the device alias column so that we're reporting on any device aliases we may have for our equipment. Line 16, we commented out the join to the building view because we're not using that information anymore. Line 19, we included a join to the device alias view so that we can report on that information. Line 23, we included a where clause to filter by a room name, and line 24, we're commenting out the building name in our order by clause. So now we can copy this and paste it back in our report in device 42. So we'll paste that right in here, and we can see the changes that we made, line 16 with our new join, our new filter on line 23, so on and so forth. So we'll hit test to make sure that our query is valid. Looks good. If we hit OK, it's going to ask you to make sure the unique key fields the report uses have not been invalidated. Just click on the unique key field here, hit OK, and then OK again once more. That looks good. We'll hit OK here. If you want to verify that your changes to the query were made, you can click on the SQL icon again and check. Alright, so we can already see some changes have been made to our report. The building information, we commented that out, so the values that would typically be here, we can see the room names and row information. Those are gone for building. Since we're not using that, we'll just delete those columns for building name and building address. Now we want to include the device alias. Let's put that right next to our device name. So we'll insert a column after and modify the label here to device alias. I'm going to copy the formatting from this cell here so that it looks the same. Make this a little bigger and change this to alias. So these are your column headers in the black row here, and these are the actual data or the fields or values that are being reported on, and those will all come from here. So we can see the building information is gone. That's because we commented that out. We can also see the newly added device alias, which will drag and drop right here. So we've modified our query. We've modified the layout of the report to remove the building information and add the alias information. I'm going to make this just a little bigger actually, so that we have that new column for that device alias info. Everything else should be good. Remember, we've also filtered by a particular room name that was included as part of the query. That doesn't show up here, but we'll be able to see a reflection of that in the report itself. So we'll save it, run report, and see the fruit of our efforts here. So right away we can see we got rid of the building information. That's no longer here. If we go back to the original report, those two columns were here. We've also got the device alias. Some of them, not every device has an alias, but we can see a few here in our new report. And we filtered by this particular room, right? NHDC1. So our original report had quite a lot of pages. We know that the filter worked because it dropped it down to 7. And if we were to work through all these, we'd see just this room name. Here's some more device aliases as well as we work through the different pages. So that's how you create a new report in advanced reporting, as well as modify a predefined report. I hope this was helpful and informative. If you have any questions regarding anything about advanced reporting or DOCL, please feel free to reach out to support@device42.com. Thank you.